In the name of Allah. Hi everyone. Today we are honored to host Dr. Jin Lianxiang from China to have a short discussion about Iran-China relations and other related political issues. First of all, I give you a very short introduction about him, and then we will start our discussion. Dr. Jin is the senior researcher from Shanghai Institute for International Studies, which is one of the most prestigious think tanks in China. And his studies have been focused on the Middle East, or better to say West Asia, particularly and specifically on Iran's foreign policy and Iran's domestic politics. He has written many articles in this regard, and his latest article, which was about Iran-US relations, have been published by Tehran Times newspaper recently. Dr. Jin, so nice to have you here today, and I welcome you on behalf of the academic community of the University of Tehran.
Thank you very much for bringing me here. It is a great honor to have this interview.
Thank you very much. The honor is ours. I have a few questions here, and I will go forward as long as the time allows us. And if you don't mind, I prefer to start with a cultural question to warm up the discussion.
No problem.
Would you please tell us about the cultural commonalities between Iran and China? As you know, both of us, Iran and China, have had a long and rich history, and we have very ancient civilizations. The Persian Empire, the Chinese Empire, which are absolutely incomparable with the 5th or 6th century history of the United States of America, and not even comparable with the history of some of the European countries. Would you please tell us about the shared features between the two nations which can bring the Chinese and Iranians closer together?
Okay, this is certainly a very good question. Yeah, I would like to say that China and Iran shares a long history, and I would like to say two very ancient and smart civilizations. I have traveled to some cities in Iran. Okay, you can find in the buildings, they are all civilizations, and also great achievements in the last decades, I would like to say. Okay, and because of the shared aspiration of civilizations, and we can understand each other much better than with other peoples. I would like to say that we can understand each other very well. We do have several commonalities. For instance, in both our culture, we are very hospitable to our friends. We are both hospitable. Okay, yeah. I was very much surprised how Iranians are hospitable. But in China, we also have this kind of hospitality. Okay, and particularly in the modern times, you can see many people are much modernized, but we still kept our traditions of being hospitable. Okay, and also we have commonality in showing respect for others, I would like to say, and these values are really very much appreciated. For instance, in Iran, I feel I'm respected. Okay, Iranians would always to show to regard the feelings of the other side. Okay, and also express respect for the civilization of the other side. We Chinese also have a similar respect for other civilizations. Yeah, we in policy and in the speeches of our leaders, we would always say we value the respect among civilizations. And thirdly, I would like to say we attach great importance to friendship. Okay, in Western literature or in Western academics, you can find that many people say there is no permanent there is no permanent friendship, but permanent interest. But I would like to say both Chinese and the Iranians values friendship greatly. We think that actually we cannot just live with interests. We also need to talk about friendship. Okay, Actually, in our bilateral relations, we can see a lot of evidence of our friendship. Okay, I think it is because the lack of the sense of friendship that undermines the relations between countries and between peoples. Okay, and the friendship between countries, even sometimes, when we do not talk about the interest, we talk about friendship, that will make countries, the relations between countries reasonable. Okay, and also I think in both of our cultures, I mean in values, we value a lot about justice and equality. For instance, in Iran, you have a lot of measures and the practices protecting the vulnerable. In China, we also have a lot of measures protecting vulnerable people. For instance, we have a poverty reduction project in the last decades, okay, which is really very much successful. Okay, it reduced the poverty greatly, and in Iran you can find the breads. Those basic foods are very, very, very cheap. I think it is very good, and we favor the culture of respecting justice and equality. Okay, thank you.
It was very interesting for me. You said that the basic foods are very cheap in Iran.
Yes.
In comparison with other countries, yes?
Okay.
So, but the Iranian people usually think that food and in general, the living expenditure in Iran are very high, and they always, most of the time, they complain. Maybe in some occasions they are true, because if we compare it with the salaries, they might be considered expensive. But I agree with you that in general, Iran's food and living expenditure is not as high as other countries.
Okay.
So please tell us about what other aspects of Iran and China relations must be strengthened, and what aspects have been neglected so far and has not been paid enough attention.
Okay. I think this year or this period of time actually sees the best moments of China-Iran relations in the history. Okay, though in the history our relations are always good. Okay, I would always argue China-Iran relationship is defined by gifts instead of by guns. Okay, so I would like to say always friendship, but we reached a new highest level in history. Okay, so this year, the February of this year, saw President Raisi visited China, and he received a group of Chinese scholars, and I was part of that. Okay, and the visit saw actually the relationship between China and Iran, mutual trust has been greatly enhanced. And also we saw that Iran was adopted into SCO in August, which is a very important international organization or mechanism in which China is a very important player. Okay, and in September, I think that Iran was adopted as a full member of BRICS. Okay. Yeah. And also in March this year, we saw that Iran and Saudi Arabia resumed their diplomatic relations. It was mediated by China. Okay? We see a lot of achievements in mutual political trust. I think it is at the highest level, okay, in history. Okay? And also we see a lot of economic achievements. China remains a very important importer of energy from Iran. Okay? And nowadays, if you go to the hotels, you can find Chinese businessmen and Chinese tourists are actually crowding the hotels in Tehran, in sceneries, we can also see a lot of Chinese. Okay, I think we are going to see not in the long future a very robust growing of China-Iran economic relations. Culturally, I would like to say that we have a lot of exchange of students, and a lot of Iranian students went to study in China, and Chinese students would like to choose Iran as a destination. Okay, and they are usually the best students in the world. Iranians, yeah, they have very good grades in universities in China, in Shanghai. Okay, and a lot of exchanges. Okay, and this year I think an international movie festival held in Shanghai. They took 5 Iranian movies. Okay, and a lot of such a kind of exchanges. And also, you can find in Asian Games, a lot of Iranian athletes performed excellently in Hangzhou. Okay. Okay, so a lot of such kind of exchanges, but I would like to say, I'm not worried about the prospects of China-Iran relations, since our relations are based on not only strategic interests, not only political interests, but also friendship, but also mutual political trust. So I'm not worried about China-Iran relations. But I would like to say that we need to do some prediction and prevention. For instance, so many Chinese are coming to Iran, so many Iranians are coming to China. But anyway, in some way, we have misunderstandings in language. This kind of misunderstandings could sometimes cause a problem. Okay. Anyway, this problem, though, I believe, could be very small. But in today's world, if it is promoted by some Western media, it should be very much damage on China-Iran relations. I would propose that we need to prepare to prevent this kind of scenario from becoming reality. That is, we do need some prevention measures. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Would you please tell us more about the neglected parts of the Iran-China relations, and which part of our relations need to be more strengthened in the future?
Actually, I would like to say, in 2016, when President Xi Jinping visited Iran, we defined our relations as a comprehensive strategic partnership. By that, I would like to say we realized our relations should be comprehensive, not only political, but economic, but also in other cultural, in other areas. I would like to say, so far so good. Okay, in all these kind of areas, we have seen a lot of progress. Okay, but the problem, many people. I would like to say some would expect more cooperation. Yeah. But some others would say that China has too much influence in Iran. So it is very difficult to say. That it all depends on how you evaluate, how you look at it. Okay, I think it is so far so good. So far, so good. Okay. Yeah. And well developed, well progressed in all aspects.
Yeah,
okay?
Exactly true. Do you think what are the economic consequences and benefits of that comprehensive 25 strategic partnership between Iran and China? What are the economic results and consequences for Iran?
I think these years, actually, you have already seen the growth of China-Iran economic cooperation. I do not have very specific specific number about this cooperation, but you can find it in Tehran Times and other media. They have a lot of reports about it. For instance, I remember very clearly there is some report in Tehran Times about China-Iran economic cooperation on the version of May 27th. If I'm not right, okay, you can check with that. There are a lot of reports about the latest. But anyway, you can find that after we removed the COVID restrictions, it is only half a year, okay? Half a year that we do not have that enough time to see the progress. We have to be patient enough, okay? And even in the last half a year, after we removed the COVID restrictions, the interactions become normal, okay? You have Nowruz, you have also Ramadan, okay? All this kind of the period, you just stay at home, okay? You just stay at home. Okay, so actually we only see something like 4 or 5 months that we have normal interactions, okay? But nowadays you can see that all the flights traveling between China and Iran are full, okay? I even expect that it is because of the restriction of the number of flights that that it is not sufficient to follow the pace of the development of China-Iran relations. Okay, so anyway, I would like to say that we have to move forward steadily. Okay.
Yeah, very good, very good. Thank you very much. And please tell us about the special geopolitical characteristics of Iran, or even strategic characteristics of Iran that encourage the Chinese officials to continue their cooperation with Iran. What's special and unique about Iran? The answer to this question is very interesting for me personally.
Okay, thank you very much. That is certainly a very good question, but I would like to put the question in the following ways: what are the specific shared geopolitical interests we have? Okay, I think firstly, China and Iran share the interest of maintaining stability in the region, okay, in the region of West Asia and North Africa, okay. So this region is your neighborhood, okay. Stability will serve to pave a favorable environment for you to develop at home, okay, for your economy. But we also think that the Middle East, the West Asia, is a very important market for us, okay, and so I think we have the same geopolitical interest of maintaining stability in this region. Secondly, I would like to say we share the same interests of preventing some external actors taking some harmful actions in Central Asia and in the Asia-Europe continent in general, okay? Some certain Western countries would like to launch the campaign of color revolution, something like that.
Yes.
They would like to take action to top down the governments of the governments in the region. But we both have the interest to maintain the stability of the region, at the country level. And also, I would like to say that China and Iran both have interests in maintaining justice in the world, okay? And because of some very powerful Western countries, okay, justice is not is seriously neglected in international community, and I think China and Iran can work together to maintain justice in some important issues. Thank you.
Now that you talked about stability and justice in the West Asia, let's talk about the recent unrests in Palestine. Unfortunately, in the past week, we witnessed a full-blown war in Palestine in the occupied lands. How can these events affect the geopolitics or even the calculations of the West Asia?
I would like to deliver several points. The first one is that it will undermine, maybe in some way, serious the domestic stability of countries in the region. Okay, years ago, a decade ago, many people are saying that the Palestinian issue is marginalized. Okay, but I never believed that it is marginalized. It should always be at the core of various Middle East issues. Okay, and Muslim countries, Muslim peoples are strongly identified with the national cause of Palestine. Okay, you can see a lot of protests and demonstrations in Arab countries, in Muslim countries. I think it is, in some way, it means that some Arab countries, particularly those Arab countries who have normalized their relations with Israel, will face challenges at home. So many people are dying, and the people in the Arab countries are demonstrating. So I think it is a challenge for their domestic politics. That is the first point. Thirdly, I think it is a very serious challenge to regional stability. Okay, the last 2 years or the last couple of years, we have seen that there is a de-escalation of tensions in the region in general. Okay, we see that the de-escalation of tensions between Iran and Saudi Arabia. Okay, but because of this kind of tensions, the latest conflicts, I think I'm really worried that it could create uncertainties, create something that is not only predictable, sometimes unpredictable. That should be very dangerous. For instance, in Syria, Israel bombed Syrian airport. It is totally unreasonable. Okay, Americans saying that Iran is part of the story. Okay, I think in the latest development, Iran is not that much involved in this issue. Okay, so I would like to say, politicizing this issue could make the situation in the region much more complicated. Okay, and also I would like to say that it could further reduce the influence of the United States in the region. Okay, I suppose that the people in the region are not satisfied with American policy. Okay, particularly the latest conflict indicates the United States policy in the region is very, very much problematic. Okay,
yes, exactly.
I think the conflict itself indicates America is declining in the region. Okay,
exactly.
Thank you.
Well, Palestine is as important and as critical for the Muslim countries as Taiwan is for China. And as Imam Khomeini said, Palestine is like a piece of flesh of the body of the Muslim countries. And as the Supreme Leader recently directly indicated that Iran was not involved in the conflicts in Palestine. But you know, we are witnessing, unfortunately, war crimes committed by Israel. You know, they have cut off water supplies and electricity. They blocked food and medicine. And it's not all the story. They even poured white phosphorus bombs on the heads of civilians, innocent women and children, and even elderly people. And these are war crimes, according to the international laws that was written by the Western countries and European countries. And even the same, and now the same countries not only did not condemn the Israel's war crime, but they also strongly supported the Israel. You know, as you know, Gaza Strip is one of the most densely populated areas on the planet, and it's like an open-air prison with almost 2 million prisoners. And the hospitals of the Palestine indicated that children may die in the incubators because of the lack of fuel and energy and electricity. These are war crimes. What are the reaction of the Chinese government to these war crimes committed by the Israel and the Jewish state?
Okay, thank you very much for this tough question. I would like to say that I do not agree with some of the comparisons, some of the point of views that you put in the before the question. I would like to.
Which one? Which one don't you agree?
Okay, in general, I would like to say. In general, I would like to deliver some of my points. Okay, China would always say that the Palestinian Palestinian issue is at the core of various Middle East issues. Okay, so without a proper solution of this issue, this problem, okay, the Middle East will not see stability, and we also think that the two-state solution is the only practical approach to solve the problem. Okay, and we also think that the justice should be returned to Palestinians. That is the point I would like to say. Currently, I think what is the most important is to put out the fire. If the fire spills over, and it will be no good for, it will be good to nobody. Okay, what is important is everybody, external actors, regional actors, put out the fire as soon as possible. With the fire burning, it will hurt everybody. Okay, that is the first point I would like to say. Mm-hmm. Secondly, I would like to say, after you putting out the fire, we need to come to a reasonable course of peaceful solution of the issue, two-state solution, negotiations to that. And I would also like to say that China is very strongly committed to reasonable solution of that. I think recently China invited President Abbas to visit China, and we define our relations as strategic partnership. I think it is an indication that China is committed to the reasonable solution of that issue. Okay, and after that, China is has a very intensive interactions with Arab countries and the countries relevant with the conflicts. And also, our foreign minister telephoned the foreign minister of Brazil. Brazil is going to chair the UN Security Council debates about that issue. Okay, and anyway, we are all this indicates, all this means that China is strongly committed to its to solve the problems on the ground, not the immediate humanitarian crisis, but also the future solution of the problem. If the problem is not solved, you can often have fires in that region. Okay, I will just stop here.
Thank you very much. We are running out of time. Thank you very much. I appreciate you, Dr. Jin, for accepting our invitation and dedicating your time to us. I hope that this conversation have had shed light on the unique opportunities lied inside Iran-China relations and would strengthen the ties between the two nations. And I hope to see the freedom of Palestine and the freedom and happiness and victory of the innocent, oppressed Palestinians in the near future. Thank you very much for watching us to the end, and have a good time.
شبکه دانشگاه تهران، شبکه حکمت و فرزانگی.